My HOA is foreclosing on everybody's house. So, if you guys remember last year, I came to tell you guys that my HOA was threatening to put a lien on my home and start the foreclosure process over a $22,000 assessment that I refused to pay. My HOA had been wanting to do some construction on all of the homes, and this was something that was well underway before I purchased my home. I ended up finding out through meeting minutes and talking with neighbors that not only was this something that was planned as far back as 2022, but neighbors who purchased their home around the same time as me did get a disclosure that there was a siding project that was slowly approaching. I am allegedly one of two people who did not get that notice according to the HOA, and so my HOA said that I could pay them the money back on a monthly basis for the next 5 to 10 years. I declined. I don't think that I should have to pay you anything for this. So I knew, I've been getting a lot of letters. I've been working through this, but I knew that they were trying to come after me, put a lien on my home, etc. However, a new person came knocking at the door. It was the construction company. The construction company is now saying that the HOA, my HOA board has not paid them. And they have not received all of their money, and the houses have been done for months. I'm saying for months. And apparently they didn't get all their money. And so now they're putting a lien on the homes, which that process I think has been done today. And our property management company and the HOA is trying to say that it's because of the homeowners who haven't paid. I don't believe that. I know that when the HOA was accepting bids and what they were looking for a company that could give them a $3,000 advance that, of course, they would pay back. However, they never really told us what that advance would be for, why they needed it, etc. It didn't make sense to us. However, they ended up choosing a company that would be able to give them that, which, of course, they have to pay back. The amount that the construction company says the HOA still owes is $272,000. That sounds like the 300,000 that you guys, I know I'm mixed in there, a little 20 grand in there, right? But that, for the most part, sounds like the 300,000 that they gave you in advance on. And our HOA is trying to say that it's the homeowners who didn't pay. That doesn't make any sense to me.
And this is why people don't want homes or neighborhoods with an HOA on it. I thought HOAs growing up was like, oh, it's just supposed to keep everything nice and neat. But nah, HOAs got too much power, low key, high key. And this lady in this next clip is going to tell you how the HOA foreclosed on a home for a small amount of money. Small amount to some people, but let's look.
Look, I'm not saying that all HOAs are bad, but I just saw a home at today's auction get foreclosed on for $7,000. And before you say, oh, that could never happen to me, it can, and it does. And it literally happened today to a family. So here's what happened. The homeowner fell behind on their HOA dues. This is not their mortgage. This is not the taxes. It's the HOA dues. Of course, it started adding up after a few months. Then they added fees to that. And so the HOA puts a lien on the property. And they can, like in this case, push it all the way into a foreclosure. And in this case, over $7,000. Most homeowners don't realize how much power homeowners associations or HOAs have. In some certain communities, they can have covenants in place that could allow them to put a lien on the property and push it into a sale, even if you're up to date on your mortgage. So here's the lesson. Do not ignore your HOA letters. If you get one in the mail, open it, read it, take action. Don't just toss them in your junk drawer or in the trash. Get to them. If you cannot make your payments for whatever reason, life happens. If you cannot make your payments, get to them before they make the phone call to an attorney that's going to foreclose on your home.
Speaking of an attorney, let's hear from an attorney. Look.
I'm doing a series on the biggest myths I see in my bankruptcy practice every single day, and this one really shocks a lot of people. I'm Don Golden, a bankruptcy attorney in Tampa, Florida. And here's today's myth. Most people don't think that a homeowners association could ever foreclose on their home. But if they believe that, they are dead wrong. Here's how it starts out. You might miss an HOA quarterly payment or two. You're $100, $200, $300 behind to the HOA. You've been ignoring the letters because you just can't afford to pay that right now. Eventually, they're going to send that to an attorney. And now, what started out as a $100, $200, $300 problem has turned into a much bigger problem because now you're liable for all the past due homeowners association dues, plus late fees, and now attorney's fees as well. This can add hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to the bill. So if you thought you couldn't pay it before, you're really going to have a hard time paying it now. Then, if you don't pay within a reasonable period of time, the attorney's going to record a lien on your property. That lien just doesn't sit there. In Florida, the Homeowners Association has the right to foreclose on that lien and take your home to satisfy the past due HOA fees, late charges, and attorney's fees. And the scary part is how quickly all of this can escalate. What started as a simple mispayment becomes a lien, that becomes a foreclosure, and now you're in court struggling to save your home over something that could have been resolved for a few $100s. So if you have an HOA and you're behind, don't ignore the letters. This is not a time to bury your head in the sand and just sit around to wait to see what's going to happen. Make arrangements with the HOA or the law firm to get caught up on those fees. But if you find yourself in a situation where it's too late for that and they won't work with you, well, Chapter 13 might just be your best option. I highly recommend you consult with a bankruptcy lawyer to see what your options are if the HOA will not work with you. Remember, your house is at stake. Follow me for the rest of the series because these misconceptions are really costing people every single day.
See, that's predatory, man. Let's look at the HOA trying to defraud somebody. Watch this.
There go that dog, Miss Sharon. I feel like the scheme I just uncovered, I need to flee the country. And a scheme is when multiple parties are involved. So I'm dealing with a attorney who is also the collection agency and the trustee of the sale, the community manager, that same pug face bitch that used to drag that dog is on the same motherfucking board to steal my goddamn house. I told y'all years ago her energy. And attorneys are in on it too. Refer back to attorney Spank That Ass. He refused to help me because he said I didn't have enough money to fight it. Then he tried to pay them on the back end behind my back and settle out of it, and they denied it. I'm glad they denied it because I didn't want to settle. Now I want a civil rights attorney. Lawyers think I'm stupid trying to juck me and charge me 10, 20, 30 grand. I've already presented the entire case. I just need you to file the motion. Fuck how much it costs. I just want to talk to the judge. Shit, judge might be in on it too. The covenants are very clear. It states when an owner disputes an assessment charged to their account, if they dispute it in writing, the disputed charges may remain unpaid during the investigation period. See, they didn't bank on me having big girl money. There's consequences for breaking rules. Once they created that fake email address and hit send, that's wire fraud. You can't remain on an HOA board being caught doing that. You can't hold the seat of a community manager if you're willfully frauding homeowners. So now I'm coming for licenses.
Frauding is one thing that's crazy, but trying to get inside somebody's house is egregious. Look at this.
We're not home.
Where are you guys?
We're on vacation.
Okay, that's not a problem. I just need to run inside and check on a few things. I'm getting notifications of a leaky pipe and whatnot. Just want to make sure everything's okay inside. But this passcode is not working for me. Did you change it?
Mm-mm.
You didn't change the passcode? Every board member of the HOA gets a universal passcode. For some reason, this isn't working. You know, it's a violation to change your passcode on your house, right?
You need to leave.
I'm going to give you one chance to give me the code, all right?
The police are on their way.
I don't think that's necessary.
I mean, bro, that better have been a skit. Y'all think that's a skit? I'm getting skit. I'm hoping it's a skit. He talking about your code is not working. I see you changed your code. Who are you, sir? If HOAs is doing that, you might as well just go and live in an apartment because they do the same thing at some apartments, trying to get inside your place. That's crazy. Let's look at this next lady. She's looking at her HOA dues. She did not do the do.
This is not my regular content, but I just got our HOA dues for 2026 in the mail. And my husband and I just went over it, and oh my gosh, we probably spent like 20 minutes just like talking mad poop because we're just so angry. If you are thinking about moving or buying a house, please think twice before purchasing a home that has an HOA because they will do nothing but take you. So let's go over our dues, shall we? So let's just mind you, when we moved into this house, a little bit under 3 years ago, our HOA dues were at $300 a year. It is now at $425 a year. Okay. And there's also like 100 houses in this neighborhood. So think about all the money that they're making, right? So when we first moved in, apparently there was this huge lawsuit happening where one of the neighbors had built a shed along the pond, and well, that's a big no-no. Well, they had put in a request. So to move a freaking bush, you have to write a request to HOA to move a bush, and then they have 30 days to respond to you. Well, unfortunately, the person that was supposed to respond had passed away, but we didn't. The person that put in the request didn't know that they died. And they went ahead and just did anyways, because the rule is if they don't respond, you can go ahead and do it. Well, they did it. And HOA came back and sued their butts. Sued them. For what? For what? It's their property. I just don't understand it. So they got sued, and it cost a grand spanking total of $23,271. And guess who paid for it? The sweet neighbors, all of us. And we just moved in. We had no idea what was going on. This lawsuit has happened before we moved in. And HOA lost. Duh, they lost. The person still has her shut up. And I guess that person that they actually sued moved away. So they paid nothing. So they got sued, they won, and then they moved. So here we are paying all the legal fees, right? So we are paying $3,000 for insurance. Whose insurance are we paying for? Legal fees now in 2026 are going to be $2,000. So they went from $23,000 to 2025 $6,000, and now they're going to be $2,000. Okay, and then our website that no one ever freaking uses is $1,530 for a website. Mowing is 40 grand. It was 35,000 last year, but now it's 40 grand. Wow. For the irrigation and pond, 9,000. For what? What are we feeding the fish? Tree removal, which I've never seen these freaking people remove a tree ever, 10 grand. Utilities, 4,800. What commons area, 500. We have a gazebo and a pond. Then for some reason it has rent, $100. Who are we renting? And then for the meetings that we have once a month, apparently, that we've only been to one time, we pay a grand spanking of $200. When we went, they didn't even serve cookies. Gosh, at the bottom it says, we have tabled discussion of fees and fines for a few months. Well, then you better give me my $200 back if we're not having the meetings. And if we do have a meeting, there better be a dang feast. Anyways, let me add, when we first moved in, we refused to pay the legal fees because they were charging us $300 plus like an additional $95 emergency fund because they were out of money in the budget to pay the legal fees. Like, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Anyways, we fought it. We didn't pay it for like a year. And then we ended up having to pay like $1,200 to the HOA because they put a lien on our house. So if you don't pay your HOA dues, they will put a lien on your house. But we paid it. We're good. But I still want to move every single day because I hate them.
Stick with me, because this is turning into one of the sneakier financial crises in American history. And I promise by the end of this, you're going to look at your quiet little cul-de-sac a little bit differently. So here's the setup. Across the country, HOAs, the boards that tell you your mailbox is the wrong shade of beige, are running out of money. And when an HOA runs out of money, it doesn't quietly go away. It comes for you wanting more money. Foreclosures tied to homeowners associations jumped nearly 40% in the past 2 years. Over 6,000 properties in the first quarter alone. That's not a typo. That's not subprime mortgages. That's not some Wall Street derivative mess. That's your neighbor 2 doors down getting a notice because they were 3 months behind on a $300 monthly fee, and they're about to lose their own home. And here's the part that should really get your attention. Some of these HOAs aren't even bothering with the grace period anymore. No, they're not saying, hey, you're a little late, let's talk. They go straight to the lawyers, straight to foreclosure. Now, how does this even work? Because most of us think foreclosure means the bank, but HOAs have this thing called a super priority lien in a lot of states around the country, which basically means legally the HOA can jump the line ahead of your actual mortgage lender and force a sale over unpaid dues. Doesn't matter if you're current on your 30-year fix with the bank. If you owe the HOA a few $1,000s, they can, in some cases, foreclose before the bank even knows there's a problem. And when the house goes to auction, there's usually a window, often 90 days, where you can buy your own home back, but only if you pay off everything that you owe the HOA, the original debt plus interest plus every legal fee that got tacked on along the way. And in a state like Pennsylvania, once that gavel falls at the sheriff's sale, that's it.
Yeah, so they waiting on you to slip up. They like, okay, that's one payment, two payment, red fish, blue fish, house gone fish. They is not playing. I'm sorry, that's crazy. This next lady's gonna say the same thing he just said. Foreclosures are rising up, back on the street.
I keep looking at these headlines saying HOA foreclosures are surging. But let me tell y'all something. This is not about HOA dues. This is about the economy. And if you don't understand economics, you're gonna keep getting blindsided by headlines instead of making money off of them. See, everybody want to buy a house. Everybody want to be a homeowner. But nobody talks about what happens after you close. First off, you have property taxes, you have insurance, you have maintenance, you have AC, you have a water heater, you got HOA dues. But one thing about being a homeowner, nothing stops. Like, bills continue. Bills continue, bills, responsibilities continue. And here's what people messed up. They think one missed payment isn't a big deal. But if you understand something, especially everybody right now in this economy is one check away from being homeless. I lie to you not. So being late one time actually puts you in a deeper hole. Next month has its own bill. So when you say, hey, I'm going to wait, I'm going to pay this bill next month, all you're doing is accumulating more debt and accumulating more stress for yourself. Because one late payment can turn into late fees, and late fees can turn into attorney fees. Attorney fees can turn into liens, and liens can turn into foreclosures. Small problems don't stay small problems, they compound. That's why I always tell people, stop buying houses based on what the bank is telling you can afford. Because the bank is not paying your bills. You're paying your bills. The bank qualifies you on paper, but your lifestyle determines if you can keep your house. So let me teach y'all something about economics. I got my degree in economics. I minored in business administration. So I understand the game real, real easy. Every time the economy gets tight, people start making decisions based on survival instead of, strategizing or coming up with a better plan. They stop paying what they think can wait. They stop paying, their HOA dues, their credit cards, their medical bills. And one day they wake up and realize the bill that they ignored comes with legal consequences. Listen, the bill you ignore today can become somebody's asset tomorrow. That is why investors study economics instead of emotions. That's why I started transitioning into commercial real estate, because I realized the difference between the two. Residential is very emotional based and commercial is very numbers based. But let's not talk about that. Every market creates some opportunity. So if you're getting behind on your bills, all you're doing is letting the next person who understands numbers and investments come in and take what you worked so hard to get. So I don't just teach people how to buy real estate. I teach people how to read the market. Because once you understand how money moves, you'll stop reacting to the economy. And instead, you'll start positioning yourself to profit from it. Right now, I can't say we're in a recession, but if it were up to me, or if I had to tell anybody right now, you should move like we are in a recession. Because the people who move like they're in a recession, they actually went up, they win, they come up on top. Because the reality of it is, during a recession, so many opportunities are made. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people are scared to buy houses right now because of higher interest rates, but they don't know, like, right now you have the power to negotiate. And that is how you build wealth. You don't want to pay top dollar for something. You want to get in, negotiate, and buy low while you can. Same thing with commercial real estate right now. I'm noticing that a lot of people are wanting to do seller financing. So instead of going to a traditional bank, or instead of taking out money and having, to deal with denials, they're coming up and getting creative with the financing to be able to go into business by banking on, having some type of agreement with the seller that they'll pay them back. Now, however that looks like for them, works for them, because they don't have to come up with all this money. It's literally seller finance, so we put 20 to 25% down. Sometimes it could be, it could be 10% or 15%. All I'm trying to say is people are getting creative in moments like this where a lot of people are struggling. So if you're struggling, figure out a way to help yourself. Learn the game, take notes, study the economy, learn the market, Learn how money moves in a time of desperation.
An HOA can foreclose on your home, not the bank, the HOA, over unpaid dues. When you buy into an HOA, you agree to the governing documents that most people barely read. Those documents and state law can allow the association to place a lien on your property for unpaid assessments. And in some cases, that lien could lead to foreclosure even when your mortgage is current. In the first quarter of this year, more than 6,300 properties received an HOA-related foreclosure filing. That was nearly 40% more than the last 2 years. The reason for the increase is that many associations are under financial pressure. Over the last couple of years, insurance premiums increased for 91% of communities surveyed. 17% of those communities saw insurance more than double. Add rising maintenance, staffing, and repair costs, and some associations have less room to let delinquent payments sit. So here's the lesson. Before you buy into an HOA property, pull the governing documents. Find out how quickly an unpaid balance moves from delinquency to lien to foreclosure. Ask whether payment plans are required or routinely offered. And understand your state's protections, because being current on your mortgage does not necessarily mean your home is protected from the HOA. I'm Forensic Chad. Follow me for real cases and practical financial lessons.
So if you didn't know, now you know. The HOAs can take your house. And I hope you guys pay your dues if you got one. And if you don't got one, don't get one. That's just really what it is, man. I'm not going to lie to you. And also, we got some people that's just done with home ownership in general. If you guys want to see that, man, just click right here. Again, it's been Josh from Talk to Him, boy. And I just talk to you, boy. Peace.